I've had the Viper V3 Pro in daily use for both work and gaming for coming up to about a month now. This is one of the latest mice from Razer and I've been pretty impressed with it. Let's go over the details and I'll tell you what I think. Hi guys, I'm Matt and welcome to Kit Guru. So as I mentioned just then, this is the Viper V3 Pro, Razer's flagship esports wireless mouse. It's flagship in terms of both specs and in pricing. This mouse will set you back 160 quid direct from Razer, but it does come with their hyperpolling dongle in the box, which has been a £30 additional purchase on previous mice from Razer, so it's nice to see that they're including it with this one. In terms of design, it's been a bit of a change in direction for Razer when compared to previous Viper releases, with a more streamlined and minimal design this time around, unlike the sharp lines and angles on the Viper mice of old. And while I mentioned that change in design, I never actually reviewed any of the previous models of Viper mice, so I'm going to be approaching the rest of this video a little bit differently to most, and I'm going to judge it based solely on how I've found using this mouse and what it's been like to game with, rather than how much better or how much different it is than this or that mouse. Like I said, the design is pretty streamlined and it's pretty minimal. The symmetrical shape has some gentle contouring, with the front and back ends of the body flaring out slightly. The apex of the curve along the top sits very slightly off-centered towards the back, and this helps with control as it comes into contact with a lot of your hand when you're palm gripping it. The main buttons also have some curvy contouring which help a lot with comfort. The left and right click feel really nice when you've got this thing in your hand. The mouse measures 127mm long, 64mm wide and 40mm high. It's available in the black finish that I've got on the desk in front of me, and then there's also a white model as well. The coating on the black is a bit deceptive. It feels smooth to the touch, but it still retains a decent amount of grip when you're using it, and it looks really smooth when you look at it. For a smooth matte black plastic as well, it doesn't pick up fingerprints or marks very easily at all. The feet on the Viper V3 Pro are made from 100% PTFE and are absolutely massive. I've been maining a SkyPad XL glass mouse pad for a while now, and this mouse, like pretty much all mice, it glides very, very well on that mouse pad. But that's more on the pad than the mouse. I've tested it on a QCK Heavy 2, which is a notoriously slower mouse pad, a cloth mouse pad, and it still feels smooth, just with a lot more stopping power. Again, that's mainly probably due to the mouse pad and not the actual mouse itself, but there's enough contact between the mouse and whatever mouse pad that it's on for the PTFE feet. They're that big, they keep good contact on everything and they keep everything feeling really smooth and really nice. The only bit of branding is found on the rear end, a colour matched glossy Razer logo which can't really be seen unless you go looking for it, or if the light catches the Viper V3 Pro at the right angle. And I've got to say, I love that approach to branding. Minimal always looks better in my opinion. If they go over the top with branding, these companies, things can just start looking a bit tacky. The build quality of the Viper V3 Pro is excellent all round. Despite it being a lightweight mouse, it feels solid. The side buttons and the scroll wheel, they're both the best I've ever felt on any mouse. Neither of them wobble at all, and neither of them have any side-to-side play at all that I can notice anyway. They feel absolutely rock solid. The left and right clicks share that same good quality feel. There's minimal amounts of pre and post travel, and the clicks feel tactile and satisfying. If you're looking for a new chair, then you should definitely check out Booley's. I'm currently sat on their Ninja Pro gaming chair, which is one of 3 models from their gaming series alongside the Elite and the Master. So if you're looking for something new to stick in your setup that you can sit on and game and work, then I recommend definitely checking out booleys.co.uk. The Viper V3 Pro contains Razer's Focus Pro 35K Gen 2 sensor, which was produced in collaboration with Pixar, and that 35K in the name signifies that it's capable of up to 35,000 dpi. Polling rate is adjustable up to 8,000 Hz thanks to the included hyperpolling dongle, something which the benefits of are still very much up for debate. But one cool feature of the Viper V3 Pro is that you can set one polling rate for everyday use, and then another one that will kick in only when you're gaming. That's great for saving battery life, which I'll talk about more in a little bit. Alongside that sensitivity and polling rate, it's got motion sync, which is on by default and cannot be turned off. And then it can handle up to 750 IPS max speed and up to 70 Gs of acceleration. That's much more than capable of handling the fastest of flicks and sweeps. Razer state on their website and in the specs that it has a 99.8% resolution accuracy. I'm going to talk more about how accurate and precise it feels when I go on to talk about the gaming performance in a minute. The DPI on the Viper V3 Pro can be adjusted in 1 DPI increments. That's great for anyone who wants to get really granular with tweaking their settings and getting this thing absolutely dialed in. Then there's also the ability to DPI match the mouse to any other mouse in Synapse. Any other mouse, not just any Razer mouse. This is a pretty cool feature that should help ease the transition to this as a new mouse if you're coming from something different or from a different brand or something totally different. The switches are Razer's Gen 3 opticals, and as I mentioned before, they feel good. There's a nice tactile click on the left and right buttons, and I've not had any issues with click registration at all while I've been testing this thing out. So just like in previous reviews, we have to talk about battery life on a mouse that combines lofty polling rates with wireless connectivity. It's a trade-off between running at said polling rate and then dealing with the battery draining pretty quickly. Razer lists the battery life at the various different polling rates on their website, and they state that you can get up to 95 hours at 1K Hz, up to 62 hours at 2K Hz, 40 hours at 4K, and then 17 hours at 8K. Those figures should put into perspective just how fast the battery drains when you run this or any high polling rate mouse with the polling rate maxed out. If you didn't use the separated gaming polling rate that I mentioned earlier and you stuck to using 8,000 Hz all the time, then you can expect to be charging this mouse every other day. I've been running with a 1,000 Hz polling rate when not gaming, and then 4,000 Hz when gaming for almost the entire time that I've been testing this mouse, and the battery has never jumped out at me as being an issue. I've had to charge it roughly once or twice per week. And while I've been testing it, gaming has been absolutely great with this mouse. It's always felt precise and responsive. I've been playing a lot of Hell Let Loose lately, which can sometimes involve tracking enemies that are pretty far away with iron sights on a weapon, and I've been hitting some shots that have surprised me at times. Whether that's down to me getting more used to that game or the way the mouse is performing is up for debate, but I'd hazard a guess that it's a combination of the two. And then diving into some other FPS titles, and the experience has been no different. This thing feels, the best way to put it is it feels easy to use. I never have to fight to keep it under control, and that's the sign of a really good mouse in my book. Configuration of the Viper V3 Pro is handled with Razer's Synapse software. This mouse does have onboard memory though, and it works by saving the last set of configured Synapse settings to the device automatically. So you will have to install the software at least once, set everything up as you want it, and then you can get rid of Synapse or just stop it from opening if you want to. Actually, configuring stuff in Synapse for the Viper V3 Pro is a pretty straightforward process. There are 4 tabs in total. Customize contains all of the options for remapping the buttons and changing the LED functionality of the dongle. It can show battery level, connection status, or it can be set to only turn on to let you know when the mouse needs charging, which is how I would have it configured. Performance tab handles everything to do with DPI, polling rate, and contains the sensitivity matcher that I mentioned earlier in the video. The power tab has a few options for adjusting when wireless power saving mode is going to turn on, and then at what battery percentage level the mouse will enter into low power mode to start saving some battery. Then finally, the calibration tab is where you're going to go to change lift-off distances, and that includes the ability to set independent lift-off and landing distances across a 26-step increment slider. Synapse is okay. It still throws up ads for Razer products at you by default, which I don't like at all. But luckily, you can turn that off in the settings. And for the job of configuring a mouse or any other Razer product, it works and it does the job okay. Overall then, the Viper V3 Pro is an excellent mouse. I'm really finding it hard to pick a fault with it. I guess a very small one could be that it's quite genre specific. It suits FPS games much more than a genre that benefits from a mouse with a few more buttons, like an MMO or a MOBA, for example. But I can't really grumble too much about that. This thing is marketed and has been designed for a purpose. And that purpose is being an esports ready FPS mouse, and it easily achieves that. It's lightweight, it's well built, it's responsive, fast, and using it feels effortless. They're all characteristics which make for a very good mouse in my opinion. The price could be an area to have a bit of a grumble. It's not a cheap mouse in anyone's world. The inclusion of the hyperpolling dongle does help soften the blow, I suppose, as that has historically been an additional £30 purchase, as I mentioned at the start of the video. But I think with this mouse, it's a case of you get what you pay for. This is my new favourite mouse for FPS titles, and it's going to stay on my desk for as long as it can. And I think that says all you need to hear. And that's the end of the review, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave me a like down below if you did. Don't forget to subscribe to Kit Guru to keep up with the latest PC gaming news and reviews. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos. If you want to check out our merch, like this t-shirt, we've got hoodies, stickers, mugs, all that sort of stuff, then links to products will be beneath this video. And then if you go into the video's description, you'll find a link to our Discord server, a link to our website, a link to our Patreon page if you want to go the extra mile and check that out. Anyway, guys, I've been Matt. This has been my new favourite FPS mouse, the Razer Viper V3 Pro. I love this thing. I will speak to you in the next one. Look after yourselves. See you later.